My wife cheated and I have footage of them doing IT Part 1. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. So I am a bit lost since it has been about 2 weeks since I found out. I have been suspicious for a while, lots of red flags but nothing definite. I decided to confront her and her reaction was irrational anger, saying how can I accuse her of something like that and that she would never cheat. She made me sure. I snooped on her phone and computer but couldn't find anything, so I bought some small cameras and placed them around the house. Then I went to visit some friends over the weekend. I grew up in Norway close to the Swedish border. I met my wife in Sweden. I was 20, she was 21 and she had a 3-year-old kid when we met. We hit it off and I have been that kid's dad for the last 11 years. I love that guy, I consider him my son. We have been married for 6 years, not that it matters. Long story short, I went home early when I knew she wouldn't be there and watched the footage. Sure enough, there she was doing adult stuff with another guy. I recognized him as a work colleague, Theodore. We were friendly with him and his wife. I used to believe seeing red was just a figure of speech, but I was seeing red. I have never been that angry, I am actually a very mellow guy. I never really get angry but I just lost it. I hit the walls, I kicked the bedroom door so hard it flew off its hinges and smashed the glass table we had in a living room. I bit the inside of my cheek, I didn't even notice. But when I screamed, I sprayed the wall and floor with blood. At some point I managed to hit my head pretty hard and that snapped me out of it. I looked at the carnage and I knew I just had to get out of there. Had my wife walked in at that point I think I would be in jail. In the best case scenario for domestic violence and in the worst case for murder. I quickly packed a suitcase with essentials and my laptop. I work with simulation and modeling and my computer is custom and I need that to do my job. I sent a copy of the video to Theodore's wife. I didn't really write anything about the message apart from your husband is cheating with my wife. I met my son just outside our apartment complex. I gave him a hug and told him I would always love him but that his mother was cheating on me so I had to leave. I really regret telling him, he shouldn't be burdened with that, but I wasn't really myself at the time and it just came out of me. I went to the border. I wanted to go see my family in Norway but they didn't want to let me cross due to COVID. I've been renting a cheap Airbnb, I'm working but I'm like a zombie, I haven't talked to my wife. The only person I have responded to is my son. He's been asking me questions, I've been honest with him as far as possible that I don't know what is going to happen next, apart from divorce. I've been trying to find a good lawyer, I've received hundreds of messages from my wife and her part of the family. I haven't responded to any of it. My parents are the only ones that know my side as far as I know. I don't want to talk to my friends because they are friends with my wife as well so I don't really have good support at the moment. I'm afraid that if I talk to her or see her again I will lose it and do something I can't take back. I also don't want to lose contact with my son, but I have no idea where to even start. I am still boiling with rage and I don't know how to get past that. I need to respond to my wife at some point but I'm so angry that I don't think I'm capable of being rational. I just wanted to try to write this out and see if that helps. So far I would say it's made no difference at all. Update, I don't trust myself to meet my wife. I have talked to my son, I told him that no matter what, we would be okay. I consider him and my son no matter what happens between his mother and me. I have talked to a few common friends and her parents, apparently my wife has become sort of unglued. She's been calling and talking to everyone at all hours day and night. She has apparently confessed everything to almost everyone, and even offered money to anyone that could put her in touch with me. I was considering only speaking to my wife via a lawyer but I can't afford that, so I've asked my cousin to act as a go-between. I gave her a few questions to put forward so we see where it goes from there. I plan to contact the AP's wife next week as well. Some Redditors strongly suggested that I talk to my wife and tell her that if I can adopt my son, I will consider reconciliation. But I would never do that, I will not use my son as a pawn in anything ever. As things stand now I would love to adopt him but only if he asks me to, and only if I am sure it's what he wants and that he isn't influenced or pressured by anyone. I will get through this, I think. I have received so much good advice here. I feel like I have a plan now to move forward with. Update, I've had my hands full since my last post. I see a lot of questions in my PM messages so I figured it's easier just to make this update. I started calling my son twice per day, after my last post. He would always tell me everything was okay, but I guess it really wasn't. A few days after my post, about 20 minutes after I had talked to my son, he called me back. He was crying and he apologized for lying to me. He lied when he said everything was okay at home. He went on to tell me that my wife was just sitting in front of the TV, staring at it even if he turned it off. He didn't have any food to eat, the house smells, and the only thing he had eaten in the last 2 days was some sandwiches a friend's mother had made for him when he visited. Of course, I immediately rushed home. I could smell the rotten garbage in the hallway even before I got in the door. The house was an absolute filthy mess. It clearly hadn't been cleaned since I left almost a month ago. The floor was covered in crumpled up sheets of paper, overflowing dirty dishes in the sink. Broken glass on the floor, rotten garbage smell, absolutely disgusting. I went to check on my son first. I had picked up a burger for him on the way over. I asked him to stay in this room and eat while I went and talked to his mom. I assured him everything would be okay. I was home, I was going to take care of him. He cried and hugged me for a bit before I went to check on his mother. That hug felt so good. I had missed him so much. I am never leaving him again. My wife sat staring at the screen like my son had described it to me. What he didn't tell me was how terrible she looked. She had lost a terrifying amount of weight. She was just skin and bones. Her eyes were sunk into her head, dark rings, lifeless skin, cracked lips, messy dirty hair, filthy clothes. I grabbed a chair and set myself down between her and the TV. The smell coming off her was absolutely terrible. There was a bucket on the floor. Later found out it was half full of a week-old vomit. I felt a deep pain for her. I wanted to protect her, help her, make her better. For a while I completely forgot what she had done. Seeing her like this was really painful for me. I guess in some ways I still love and care for her, despite what she has done. That fact kind of terrifies me. Something is wrong with me too, I think. I didn't know what to say to her, to be honest. She was clearly not all there. She actually asked me if I was real. When I said yes, she broke down crying in a way I've never seen anyone cry before. Her crying, or wailing is probably a better word, was so loud it sort of startled me. Without warning, mid-scream she either fell asleep or passed out. I put my Fitbit on her arm because I don't really know how to take someone's pulse. Her heart rate varied up and down between 100 to 150, so I figured that's probably not good. I made sure she was in a comfortable position on the sofa and I wiped the snot off her face before I ran and asked our neighbor for help. They were happy to look after our son while I took her to the hospital. She has been there for 7 days now, I think. I'm a bit blurry on the days, to be honest. I have visited once, but she got so upset from seeing me that the doctors recommended that I don't visit for now. They have no diagnosis for her yet, and they have no idea of when or even if she will come out of it. I have been focusing on taking care of my son since I have made sure he has a regular IC, and he looks like he is doing better now. There is no doubt he has been traumatized by this. I am drowning in guilt for my part in causing him this pain. I have been in contact with a lawyer to try to get custody rights for obvious reasons. I don't know how that will work out. I have also prepared for divorce, but I am holding off for the time being. It took us several days to clean the house. I decontaminated the fridge with bleach and still it smelled like rotten food, so I actually had to get a new one. There are more to come. Find out the update of this story, check our channel or the description. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.